Hello, welcome to Unit 12. So in machine language, there's so much new stuff going on, it's often hard to decide what to cover in this class. So in this unit, we're actually going to let you have a little choice here on what you want to cover. So let's just start in the learning resources and look at that. So we're going to look at two different topics. Both of them are generating some kind of creative content or some new material. One looks at sequence generation, and this looks at recurrent neural networks that we've looked at before, long short-term networks and GRUs and stuff like that, to generate text. So or generate sequences. So if you have a set of like numbers or values, you predict what the next value is. And so this can be used in stock or security prediction and also text generation. Is used a lot in security projections, but we're not actually going to look at this. One thing I find is, especially with new users, it often looks easier than it should because it's hard to tell just looking at some numeric graphs sometimes how accurate these predictions are. And there's actually a lot of people doing this right now. Most financial firms are doing this, so there's a lot of new work there. But we're going to look at text generation, which is very similar, but I think it's easier for new users to see difference because you're just so used to reading text. So if you see text, words written out, it's very easy for you to spot issues with those words and how those sentences will go together and some how long-term patterns come into play. So we'll be actually doing this text generation stuff. But again, much of this is very similar to what is done with stock or security projections. So that's your first option, is to do the sequence generation route. The other one is image generation. We'll look at both encoder-decoder networks and also generative adversarial networks, GANs, here, and look at how these will be used. So these are used to generate new images in some ways. Encoder-decoder networks are used to create an internal representation of an image or some other data, and then we can then generate information from that. GANs are used to create like new images or stuff like that. There's a nice list of impressive applications of GANs here, and Google has a good introduction to GANs here also. So that'll be your two choices for this project. So let's look at, again, and so you have options as far as the learning practice activity. Option one is to do this time series predictions, where we look at some sine waves of different types and try to predict those. And option two is just image generation with autoencoders and GANs, and look at that. So you can choose which of these ones to follow. Similarly, for the project this week, you have two choices. Now, my assumption is that if you do option one with learning activity, you might want to do option one with this text generation stuff, because it'll follow along there. But I'm not going to require this. You can actually switch back and forth if you want. But again, option one is text generation with recurrent neural networks, where we try to take a writing like Alice in Wonderland and train a network to generate text similar to that. And option two is looking at a new version of GANs called cycle GANs, which have just been around the last couple of years. And we'll look at a K-look challenge to generate Monet-style images from photos and stuff like that. So that'll be posted here. And I haven't done the video yet. I'll do that video shortly. So those are your options for this unit. Hope you enjoy your choices.